I don't want to get run over here.
You know what's incredible about that mare is that wait till she gets about 10. You know, because between 10 and about 17 horses really peak out like, you know.
Well, it's like a dog, 4 or 5 year
all,
olds.
yeah,
Same
all
thing.
the,
They're all
everything
filled
they've
out.
learned.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's why, you know the Grand National. Have you ever seen that terrible horse race in Europe where they always finish up with 20 horses with no riders on them? You know, they go over.
Oh
29
yes,
jumps.
yes,
The
I see that on
Grand National.
YouTube. Yeah,
Why it's still on, I have no idea.
because so many people get hurt in horses.
Well, fuck that. I mean,
They get killed.
They start off with 40 horses. If there's only 14 guys, will still be mountain when
Yeah,
they come across the
well,
line.
that's been going on for hundreds of years.
But those horses, the average age of those horses is 12 years old. That's a 4-mile race over 29 jumps.
Yeah.
Figure that. Not a problem. The machine did most of the work. I just guided it along. Got worried.
Sam, you've been growing a little bit, young fella. He's getting taller.
I'll tell you that one thing I noticed when I went and I worked in the Portuguese community in Ontario. I worked with about 1,000 people in that community. They
Yep.
were all from Portugal now, like in the 80s and that kind of thing. And the men are all strong, short, swarthy guys, right? Their sons, fucking huge. And you can tell diet has a lot to do with how people grow. Because these Portuguese guys were short, but their sons, Johnny and Tony, and they're fucking big 6-footers, strapping guys. But, you know, they were poor people in a fascist country. They grew up on fucking beans and fish and stuff.
Yeah, well,
Then in 1975, yeah, Portugal was the last fascist country from the Second World War.
my parents, they used to go to Europe a lot together. Well, that's very seldom because they always went one by one because, you know, somebody had to look after the family.
Right.
But they also went to Portugal whenever they could, and they swear by Portugal. The beaches, the beauty,
Oh, yeah.
the people.
No, I mean, you know that Portugal, of all the countries in Europe, has the most homogeneous gene pool. In other words, they've been breeding amongst themselves for the longest of anybody in Europe.
Yeah.
And never forgetting, of course, that the Muslims, the North Africans, were in Spain and Portugal for a long time. 600 years in Spain.
Wow.
Oh yeah, go to Toledo, Spain. Oh, go look at the buildings there. They're all
Oh, they're-
beautiful
yeah.
Muslim buildings.
I know.
Gorgeous.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was
this is when Islam was at
Yeah.
its peak of
I
genius.
see the architecture there, and it's just phenomenal.
Yeah, no, I've been in Spain. It's
Yeah.
it's very. I'm fortunate that when I was in Europe when I was younger, I knew a lot about history, so I got a lot out of my trip compared to Sean, you know, who was my friend, who was just a let's go get drunk and beat up these guys, rob that, you know, something. Fucking Sean was I finally had to say to him once, Sean, you do that to another human being, I gotta leave you, buddy. So he is a ruthless guy. Son of the prosecutor of Delta.
Wow.
Like, grew up in an upper middle class home, but was one of the most ruthless motherfuckers I ever knew.
Well, there's a lot of just get back at Trump's administration when Trump mentioned that Biden, he's bad for doesn't like the Bible, doesn't
Bad for God.
bad for God. And then Biden, he's a devout Catholic.
I know he is.
His whole
Holy
family
shit,
is.
He's relied on God many
And
times. He's
Trump,
buried his
and
family.
they were saying that statement he made is going to do a lot more
absolutely.
damage.
Yeah, Catholics aren't going to like him. Joe's worn his Catholicism on his sleeve his whole
Oh,
life.
absolutely.
Fuck.
His whole family.
I mean,
That's what he grew up in.
This guy really does go to church every Sunday.
He does. You
And
never see
actually-
Trump
and he
in
believes.
church?
You know, he believes in God, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
But it's true.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's been through a lot of pain and anguish, and I'm sure the whole concept of God in heaven has helped him a lot.
Well, it helps. Yeah, I was just going to say it's very therapeutic for him
You know,
and his family.
if you ever investigate heaven, like a million different cultures have different ideas of heaven, but in the end, heaven is always the best parts of living.
Yes.
So for the Vikings, it was, well, we're still going to fight all day. We're just not going to die, and then we're going to drink with our enemies all night in Valhalla, right?
Yeah.
Like that was heaven. You know, for the Plains Indians, it was, you know, we're going to still be hunting and everything, and we're never going to run out of buffalo, and I'm never going to be killed.
Yeah, but
You know, the happy hunting
the
grounds.
Aboriginal people, you know, and both sides of the border are very spiritual, and you know, it's been passed on from generation to generation.
You can't live out in the wilderness and not be spiritual.
No.
Even people 20,000 years ago.
And they
what
respect
fuck is
the
going
environment.
on?
They respect all the living things, and then you get the white man coming and fucking things up for them, or the white man kicks them out of their reservation and puts all these fucking high-rise developments in there. Of course, they're gonna get upset.
Well, the thing is, when you consider that there was about 100 million indigenous people in Central South North America, and that 90% of them were wiped out in 150 years, and that less 10%, so you lost the biggest part of your leadership, your intelligentsia, you know what I mean? Like, the greatest parts of your genetic pool, like on a continental scale, was wiped out.
Yeah.
And they've been rebuilding ever since. I mean, you take 90% of your gene pool out and then say, start again. And that's what Native Indians are doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've taken out a lot of genetic contributions.
Yeah.
But you know, it's quite incredible because one thing
What time is it? Just so I know how long I'm riding.
Oh, Jesus. Hold on. I'm looking at stop this.
Okay, I've told you 2 stories. That's about 7
We'll
minutes.
just press my home button and you'll see the time.
124. 124. I gotta go in a half hour. I gotta pre-soak the food for my horse. A little late today. Took the dogs out this morning and, you know, in the rain. It rained for a while this morning, just a
Yeah.
shower. It wasn't bad. And that was okay. They don't care.
No, I have Mindy out every night now at Campbell Valley. I take her out at 6 and I run the living shit out of her for an hour and a half, just making her trot and gallop the whole way. And it's good for me too. Down into the valley and then up those hills, and then when I get back, yeah, that's good for nails. Anyway, they've been doing some incredible research on, what's happening right now in technology is that the equipment they're getting now, they can go back to the old bones they had from before and just get so much more out of them, right? And now they realize, and now they know, indigenous people,
I saw that.
Missed the pole.
Yeah, I know.
Completely.
You're thinking of something else. Go ahead, Mike.
they know indigenous people obviously came from Eurasia over the land bridge period, but the incredible thing that the new research is showing is that the people who came into North America, into Canada and US and that kind of thing, they were originally from the Lake Baikal region,
Yeah.
but they then lived on the land bridge, they figured, for over 20,000 years, right? Because that thing was there forever. I mean, they call it the land bridge, but it's like a land bridge like France is a bridge into Germany.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
fuck,
yeah.
it's 1,000 kilometers wide, you know? And so people, indigenous people lived on the actual land bridge for about 20,000 years, but as it started to rise, as the ocean started to rise, they had to either go back or go forward, right?
Yeah.
Because in the end it flooded out. And a group went forward into Alaska and then down the coast, and now we know they used boats and came down the coast in a hurry. Because they got down to South America in quite a, short time, like over 1,000 years, they were already there. How else would you get those huge civilizations all the way down there? And they're the same people as that are up here. So we know and we've got an Indian village up the coast, 14,000 years old. So we know people were in boats 14,000 years ago coming down the coast. And it's easy living on the coast, right? You just keep going down from bay to bay. There's food, mussels, shellfish, seals, fucking fish.
Yeah.
The incredible thing is, it shows you how restless people are, though, because those same people went out and colonized Newfoundland Indians,
Right.
like right across the top shelf and down into Newfoundland. But you know, figure it this way: if you lived in if you lived in one spot, say I dropped you off in a spot up in the Arctic, before you died, you'd do a lot of walking around.
Yeah.
You'd know at least 5 square miles.
Even though there's all nothing but ice.
Exactly. You'd be so bored, you go and look.
Yep.
So people, when they finally decide to live somewhere, they go, okay, now I live here. I wonder what's over there.
Yeah.
Before they die, they're going to move. They're going to check out another 30 or 40 miles.
Oh,
And if you-
they like to migrate.
and if you do that for 1,000 years, guess what?
You're gonna find something.
Do it for 5,000 years, and you've gone around the globe,
Absolutely.
25,000 miles. So I mean, that's how fast people move around. And the anthropologists say, or the geneticists say, no, you take a population of 200 people for 5,000 years, millions. They said that's just the genetic factor of, it's like, so yeah, people, once they get established, they can populate themselves pretty quickly. And like I said, look at the mound in Mississippi, all those mounds that they built. That took over they say that there had to be 200,000 people that lived there, corn farming and building all those mounds. And those people are gone. We don't know anything about them. All we have is those huge serpentine things they built along the Mississippi and everything. Like, incredible culture. Again, I try and say to people, you have no idea how much you're opposed to indigenous people. Indigenous people invented potatoes, squash, corn,
All the tuberous food.
everything that made the populations of Europe and Africa explode. Because when they took potatoes back and corn back to Africa,
Yeah.
fuck,
And India too.
and
Yeah.
populations exploded all over the world because now this is cheap food, right?
Yeah, and it's
anybody
easy to
can
grow.
it.
Yeah, it's easy to grow.
And-
It's
Yeah, no, it's quite incredible. They invented zero before the Indians. There was no zero in math.
no. Well, look at the Mayan civilization
That's
did.
what I'm saying. I mean, their
Yeah.
calendar. Look how mathematically correct.
Correct,
That
that is. Yeah, it's
is.
amazing.
They had the inside track on math, and the Europeans were still defecating in their hands.
There you go.
Like I said, just read the first page of not Pizarro, but the guy that conquered fucking Mexico there, killed everybody. The first page of his journal, when he comes over the hill and looks at Teotihuacan, what we call Mexico City now, just goes, holy fuck, nothing like this in the world, nothing in Europe. Their waterways and orchards and the way they built causeways and sewage systems.
Hey, girl. You told me, swear. You stay. Yeah, you be careful. You stay here. Okay? You stay here, little varmint.
Yeah, when I came out of the park last night, I had to stop on the trail and 18 horses went by me.
18. All like together, one
Yep,
group.
mob.
Oh, so it was a herd.
Yep, and everybody was bored, mostly women, and so I just stood on my side of the trail, and Mindy just sat there and watched them all go by, and
One by one.
every person went, "What a cute dog! What a great dog! What a cute dog! Look at her just standing there."
Yeah,
I
but
said,
what
"Well,
if? Would you for sure the ladies were commenting her and not you?
Oh man, it wouldn't be me. When Mindy's around, nobody looks at me. That's a fact. Look at you, bad girl. So the woman goes, "Wow, she sure is good with horses." I said, "Well, she knows them pretty good." I said, "She don't get worked up when a horse walks by her." You bad girl. If watch Tash here, you can be in the ring seat. Yes,
The front row seats.
you can be in the ring seat.
You've got a TV, don't you, Mike?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just watch the news and sports basically. The rest is shit and crud.
Oh, it's all fucking crap.
Oh, it's terrible.
Especially Fridays. It's dump your shit day.
Fucking terrible.
Yeah.
And shows that, just denigrate humanity and
Yeah, I watched Chris Cuomo last night for about an hour and a half. I don't know if you watched him last night.
oh, I always catch them.
Yeah,
You know,
he's
sooner or
good. He's
later.
good. And he
He's
had
on a
Elisa
couple of
Milano on. Alyssa, I didn't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, I saw that.
She had, yeah, I knew, I heard it through Twitter that she had the COVID, and she corresponded with Chris a lot
Yeah.
because they're both Italian lineage,
Well,
right?
it's funny. She kind of worked herself into a rage in the end. And
Yeah, you saw that?
I wasn't planning to be political, but you know what?
Yeah, I know, and she puts her head forward a bit.
These fuckers gotta die.
Yeah.
In your rabbi.
Yeah, a lot of kids this morning I heard in the States, because their school starts earlier than here.
Yeah.
A lot of them have COVID now, so they're shutting down the schools. A lot of the schools.
Yeah, opening up in a pandemic, especially.
I don't get it. Why are they even considering opening schools here in September? I don't get it.
Why? What?
Why they are opening? They want to open the schools here, not a hybrid. With precautions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think it's wrong. I think it's too soon.
Well, so do I. But they're gonna find out in a hurry.
You know what? It's not necessarily the kids catch it or not. It's what they can carry it home to all the school staff,
Well,
to the
the main
teachers,
thing is
janitorial staff.
They have to have a fallback plan and say, okay, if we get 1% infection rate, everything's closed.
Well, there has to be.
Bingo.
And it's 47 new cases yesterday.
Yeah.
And they keep saying also young people, yeah, but it's more than that. I think a lot of people have it. Half of them don't even know they have it.
Well, if you're only getting 47 cases, it's not widespread, but
No, but
it's when you start getting several hundred cases a day. Now you're getting community infection, right? You're getting
yeah.
somebody at the
Well,
Canadian
most
Tire.
of the latest ones, last week it was more in the interior in Kelowna. Now it's in the Fraser Health Authority here.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So you're in the 17 minutes of riding. 17.
okay.
So
Minder. I'd love to, if I ever bred this dog, I'd love to breed her to a little staffy bull terrier.
that's a
But
combination.
they're all terriers.
That's a
good
combination.
terriers.
Yeah,
It would be great.
yeah.
Block. I definitely.
But you were gonna start breeding some of what your betas, were you?
Well, I was looking into it kind of thing, and I was looking at the logistics of it, and I had an extra tank for it. I've got one that's so fascinating. He's a deep blue with a deep orange tail. I've just never seen one like that, even in Thailand. It's just a freak. I found him kind of sickly and small, about that big at PetSmart.
Yeah, they have a few of them. They come in every so often.
And he turned into an extraordinary fish, like blue with an orange tail. Like, I've never seen that ever. And I'm going, okay, you'd have to pray to God you could recreate.
Apparently, according to the assistant manager at PetSmart, there are people who, like yourself, who kind of they always want to be on top when the new shipment of betas come in.
Yeah, yeah.
And then apparently the policy of PetSmart is not to reveal the location.
Oh yeah, no, they don't. That's
no,
right.
because
yeah.
people start going there.
Yeah, no, because there's a
but-
real shortage.
Yeah, but
You-
what they do is, Mike, is like they told me is that they phone, oh, when is your next shipment coming in? And they wait by the door
Oh yeah.
when the
you're
shipment
kidding,
comes in,
fish
so they
people-
have first go at it.
Go online. You can't find any betas online. Everybody advertises them, but they're all out of stock.
Or they're very expensive.
Fuck that. Money's no object.
No, I know when it comes to a good beta.
Fuck.
Yeah,
Like, man, that's why I'm saying there's money to be made. You and I have to be beta importers somehow. Like, put them online when they come in. Make sure, keep them a week. Make sure they're
they're good and
good.
healthy.
Then put them online.
Put 'em in the
and say,
quarantine for a while.
300.
Yeah,
And they're gone.
but they're easy keepers, aren't they?
Absolutely. I mean, they
there's
breathe
nothing
the
to it.
air if the water's no good. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
like they're one of the few fish in the world that can breathe out of the air.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why they get tortured a lot, because people put them in little fucking pots on their desk and they have to spend
Oh.
their whole life fucking.
Yeah, it's like that little it's that little bowls they use, eh?
I know it. Just
I've
drives
seen
me
them,
crazy.
and they use them that in PetSmart. Of course, I understand it.
No, to
I
sell 'em.
understand that.
Yeah. Hey, you. Where are you going?
Well, something caught her
I
attention.
know. Yeah.
I didn't see anything out there, but she's seeing things that we don't see.
Oh,
So
Dogs.
you know what? Dogs are dogs, and now they're training dogs to sniff out the COVID
Oh,
virus.
they
eh?
started that immediately.
Yeah.
Within a week.
And that's fucking, see, that is I thought, Mike and I, that's a business that we should have gone into. And it's such an easy thing to train a dog for that.
Well,
But
actually,
you need the sources of the COVID. Like, you know, what they use is they get, you know, clothing from infected people, right?
Oh yeah, no, I saw an interview with the people that were doing it, and they said, "Oh, they just said this
Sniffer
is real
dogs.
difficult."
And only certain, you know, I mean, you can maybe have 10 dogs, and maybe 1 or 2 will work out for you.
Yep.
And then the other
Well,
8,
yeah, and the thing is, you can use every fucking
a lot of
beagles.
oh,
every
anything, the
fucking thing.
yeah, the Labradors.
Yeah.
Wow. So what are you heading from here?
Well, I'm just waiting for some phone calls now. A guy's got to come and deliver some money to me.
Oh, they owe you money.
Yeah, I know a guy owes me $1,900.
Whoa.
He's calling me trying to pay me.
Is he good for it?
No. The fucking property I spent for him, definitely gonna be able to get a loan for $1,900 on that place.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, should be a good game tonight. As long as Markstrom is on his game, right? That's hey girl. Yeah, she's a good girl. Yeah. What's up, got the girl, eh? Well, yeah, you're a bristle, eh? You're a grizzled hair, eh? Oh, look at your nails. Eh? You gonna paint your nails? You're gonna paint your nails now. Oops.
That's it. I'm done. I don't know what else to do.
Hey, Mindy,
That's a nice little break
what are you doing, girl?
for her.
Hey?
She worked good.
She was a good girl.
Oh, that mare's a